right, Cornerstone, good morning. Happy Thursday. It's Acts 25, June 25th today. We're looking at some opportunities that Paul is having that he wouldn't have otherwise had. He's speaking to Festus yesterday. He's speaking to Felix, one governor. Now he's on to another one. Now he gets a chance to speak to the king, King Agrippa, before he's going to go on and talk to, he'll have his audience with Caesar in Rome. Paul knew that he was called to go to Rome to preach the gospel. I think he was taking this to the uttermost parts of the end of the earth thing to its extreme. He really wanted to go there. He was committed to doing what God had called him to do. And it's almost like the cost didn't matter. Like, who cares what happens to me? For me to live is Christ and to die is gain. He wrote, and he didn't care. All he was completely sold out to the mission. He wanted to do what God had called him to do, and he encountered setbacks and problems each and every day, all along the way, but he trusts nevertheless in God's faithfulness. All the time, he's just resting in the fact that God said he would be with him, and God continues to reassure him through the book of Acts, as we've seen. So Paul understood that God was truly in control of his life, that God held all the strings, that God was pulling all the levers, that God was really the guy who's in charge. So that if God was in charge of everything, then God was in charge of the problems as well. We can't just give God the good times, give him credit for the good times, but we have to give him credit for the fact that he's with us in the middle of bad times and difficulty as well. I wonder today if we could look at the problems in our own lives and maybe see that, is it possible that the problems that I experience are the very vehicle that are going to bring us to our next opportunity? Paul was in prison, but he made the most of his opportunity. He was in prison one time with Barnabas, and they're singing and praising God so that everybody could hear them. Today, he sees the chance. I'm before King Agrippa, and this is going to be good tomorrow. Stick with us tomorrow to see what he says to King Agrippa. But he sees the chance to share the gospel instead of complaining about his situation. He could have complained to King Agrippa. He could have complained to Festus. He could have complained to Felix about how bad things were. But instead, he talked about Jesus. Think about your problems, and I want you to think today, maybe God is leading you through a problem today because he wants to teach you something. Don't pray your way out of the problem. Pray your way through the problem. God, what do you want me to learn in the midst of this? Maybe God is trying to grow something in you. Maybe God wants to open up an opportunity. Maybe there is greater blessing on the other side of your problem. Perhaps God is leading you through a problem to force you to deal with something you wouldn't have otherwise dealt with. Maybe God is just opening up a door for you. Think about your problems. List them. Put them on a piece of paper. Don't put them in the comments. Just put them on a piece of paper. List them and say, God, this is what's going on in my life. Remember we said, was it Acts 4? The early church was praying, and they didn't quite know how to pray because they realized that they'd been praying wrong all the time. They were praying that Jesus would be released from the cross. And so all they do is they fall on the fact that God is sovereign. They say, sovereign Lord. And then they begin to pour out all these blessings on God, talking about his character and the way that he's moved in the past. Maybe God is leading you through a problem today so that he can open up a door on the other side. Think about it today. Pray through it. Give God the glory. God bless you guys.